Ahoy, my friends, Ryder here. Alright, so today I'm actually going to be doing my very first Final Fantasy VII Ever Crisis video. Today I will be focusing on fighting the EX3 version of Sephiroth as the one-winged angel, which has been a really fun fight. I have yet to be able to beat the solo crash. I honestly don't think that I will be able to. And I've been working on the EX3. It took me about 4 days, I think, to beat the EX3. Super fun fight. I was lacking DPS, so let me just go into the event and I will go over my build and then we will go through the actual fight itself. But I'm just going to go into select the battle. Here's the EX3. You can see I already cleared it. But I will be uploading, or you guys will see the fight of my very first clear of it. Alright, so I'm going to go to my main team, which is a little bit stronger now than when I filmed the video. But going into the actual setups right here, my overall strategy for beating this battle was not breaking his sigils on his elemental phases. So I actually just go full-blown elemental DPS during those sigil phases, and I actually just tank the Shadow Flare, which to me saves spaces for materia. I didn't have to worry about other sigils in there. And so just basically to go into each of the builds here, let's go into Cloud. As you can see, I'm running Hellfire, I'm running Murasame, I'm running the Buster Sword. In his first materia slot, I have Aurora Blow. Got pretty good stats on that row. Second slot, Quakera Blow. Also pretty damn good stats. I did rank in the top 100 in the Mako dungeon. So those like materia enhancers for the synthesis really helped a lot in actually making these materia for this fight. And then on Cloud and Sephiroth, I am running Cura or Cure to help with the healing. So as you can see, physical air materia and then a physical earth materia along with Hellfire. In the sub-equip, I am running the Bald Eagle as OB1. Then I'm also running the Lefko Kipseli. It's kind of an interesting name. Okay, so I thought that when this Sephiroth event came out, the Torn Wing was going to be like a type of weapon that helped you beat Sephiroth by using it on Sephiroth himself. In all the runs I've done so far, it doesn't really quite work. Unless you go in and you're manually casting on people, and then it's still tricky because you're trying to use Aerith at these like really tight interval moments. It can be just tricky to kind of get that off. But as I found here, as you guys will see on Cloud and Sephiroth right here, I'm using the Torn Wing on Sephiroth in a sub, and then the, whatever this is called, the Lefko, I'm just going to call it the Lefko or the Kipseli, in Clouds, it increases their physical defense like pretty good. So he's around 118, Seph is 132. So that's where I used them. So I finished the event, I slotted these weapons in the sub-equipments, and overall it just helps kind of for more of a tankier build. And then my last one is the Seaside Caller for the HP and lightning potency. Alright, so going into Aerith here, I did run her Healing Wind level 7, which is cool because it now adds a regen, which I didn't notice until actually in the very fight that I did against the EX3. And then as you can see on her, I'm running her Fairy Tail OB6, and then her Prism Rod OB1, along with Aurora right here in the first slot, and Quakera in the second slot. And as you guys can see on all three characters, I am running Healing Asuna Poison right here. Honestly, just for the little heal, but it only costs 3 ATB bars, so it's kind of like a quick heal if you actually need it. And also the stats are good on this thing, so pretty solid. And then going into her sub-equips, I have the Lifeguard Wraps OB1, then I have the Thousand Waves OB10, and then I have the Enhanced Sword Z OB2. And then last but not least, going into Sephiroth here, I am running Diamond Dust level 5, the Edged Wings, and then the Aonibi right here, down here. Aonibi, a bunch of people have been pronouncing this differently, but if you do pronounce it in Japanese, it's Aonibi, and it means blue, dark gray. So literally the sword's name is just the colors that it is. Pretty interesting. So yeah, I finally just got that OB6, which is pretty sweet. And then in his materia slots, of course, same magic focused materia. Here we have Aurora, and then we have Quakera, And then last but not least, we have Cure to help with the healing. And then in the sub-equips, we do have the Torn Wing for the extra stats. Then I am running the Mithril type O Katana, HP and boost magic ability potency. And then last but not least, the Crystal Gloves. This one, honestly, just for the massive HP stat. I will say that if we're looking at the stats right here, you can see Seph is at 7k, Cloud 6.5, and Aerith 6.9. I would say for the EX3 stage, like a bare minimum on HP is 6k, but you really want like more like 6.4 or 6.5 if possible. And honestly, the healing wasn't so much of a big part for me as opposed to like the DPS. And so for me, Sephiroth, running him just like a pure ice DPS build, along with everyone with the wind and the earth. And as you can see, I stacked all the wind in the first slot, all the earth in the second slot, and then the cures in the third slot. I wasn't too worried about the S passive areas for the materia, but they all align pretty well. So that being said, why don't we get into the fight? And yeah, we'll see how it goes. All right, guys, here we are going into the EX3 Sephiroth fight. Normally at the beginning, he's going to cast Pulse of the Planet and then Heartless Angel, as I'm sure many of you guys know. Heartless Angel is going to take someone down to 1 HP. I let the DPS do what they're going to do, switch over to Aerith and just kind of collect all of her ATB gauges. After this, I switch over to manual play. I think it's pretty much necessary for these harder fights in the game. And I'm just going to be healing back up. As you can see, since Cloud and Sephiroth both have Cure and Cura, it makes it a lot easier to get everyone back up. So now we're going to take the Shadow Flare, but we're fully healed for it. All right, so switching over to Aerith. Aerith is honestly going to be mostly a healer the entire fight, but during the elemental sigil phase where he's weak to wind, she is going to come in handy pretty well, honestly, with the new Prism Rod, even though it's only OB1. All right, so right here, just trying to do some damage, and I'll switch in between Sephiroth and Cloud intermittently. Sephiroth, I basically always want his magic attack buff up, and then for Cloud, I'm basically just doing the Murasame command ability every single time, and then switching back to Aerith. I try to really not let anyone get below 60% HP if possible in this fight. It's pretty important, I think, to do that. All right, so here comes the first Octaslash. We're about halfway through the cast, just trying to get in as much DPS as possible. The first few days I was doing this fight, it was a DPS check. I was basically trying to break his sigils. As you guys will see here, I'm just going to tank it all the way through to the Shadow Flare once we get to his elemental phase. So Cloud is going to survive that with like 1598 HP. So I think like probably 3 Octaslashes or maybe 4 before they start to get too powerful. If you do have the Mithril Rod, you can cast Saving Grace, but I do not have that. I mean, I do have it base, but I don't have it OB1. I feel like OB1 is kind of like the first threshold to really use a weapon. You can definitely use them base weapon 5-star, but I really think the very first overboost is pretty impactful. All right, so here is the first Wind Infusion. So everyone's going to be using Quakera Blow and Quakera. So honestly, they have no sigils. Everyone's just going full-blown DPS. As you can see, we're actually doing pretty good damage. I got pretty good materias from ranking in the top 100 in the Mako dungeon. So that was pretty lucky, pretty excited about that. All right, so here's going to come the Shadow Flare. Okay, that's going to take us down to about 2200 HP. Just going to switch over. And a lot of this is like, you know, managing the command stance, not letting that little bar go all the way down to 0. As you can see here, it's at like 1/4. So I'm going to try and get it back up. I switch over to heal, then I'm going to immediately switch back to attack stance. All right. And actually, you can kind of switch over to the defense stance when he's doing Hell's Gate and mitigate damage if you're pretty quick on it. All right, so here's the Earth Infusion. So we're going to go full-blown air damage right now, wind damage. All right, I'm just going to be switching back and forth between the characters and just trying to do as much damage as possible. I will get my summons here, but I am going to wait just a little bit to use them. Okay, so going for, it's like, looks like we're about halfway through the sigil break right now. And honestly, this strategy has worked immensely for me because I feel like I still was close on the DPS check on this run. And if I hadn't like gone full-blown DPS right here, I don't think I would have done it. That Octaslash just gets really powerful, like the more you take it. All right, so here's gonna come Healing Wind. right, there we go. And it's going to cast Regan now that it's level 7 from level 55, which is pretty sweet. All right, we're going to take the second Shadow Flare here. Then we're going to get like a decent sized window to just DPS this dude. So the first thing we're going to do, take my HP back up, switch over to attack stance. Here's going to be Heartless Angel. I'm going to go straight into the summons right here. All right, you don't want to accidentally do the summons when he goes into Masamune in waiting, even though that's a later mechanic of his. It won't come for probably about 20 to 40% more on his bar. No, actually maybe about 15% more on his bar. All right, so here's going to be Heartless Angel. Like I said, with Cloud and Sephiroth, full-blown DPS. With Aerith, I'm just trying to save her ATB. So I'm just going to let it fully run up right there and then switch it over to the defense stance right at the end. All right, so here's going to come Heartless Angel again. He's going to bring Sephiroth down to 1. All right, we're going to go straight into the healing, try to get everyone back up. And there is a point in this fight where like you kind of abandon healing and you just go full-blown DPS. I'll show you guys. It's going to be right at the end. All right, so here comes another Octaslash. So back-to-back right after Heartless Angel. So pretty tough right here to kind of mitigate this damage, but then heal through it. But as you can see, Aerith is doing pretty good. Fairy Tail was like what I re-rolled for, so I'm very happy that I picked that up for Aerith. It is a fantastic weapon. I haven't tried Matt too much, to be honest, but I'm sure he's also pretty good. All right, so like I said, going back to Cloud and Sephiroth, and we are just focusing DPS. As you can see on Sephiroth, I have his magic attack ability up from Aonibi, and then he's just going to be using Aerial Frostblade the whole time. And then Aerith can DPS here and there when everyone is up. So this is that little window that you have to do as much damage as possible after that Heartless Angel and the Octaslash. As you can see, we switched to the defense stance for the Hell's Gate right there. Then we're going to switch back to attack. Our stance meter is full. Here's the Masamune in waiting. This one was really close. I forgot that this was coming when I was in this fight. And it's like we get it down to 1. And as you can see here, the game like almost freezes right there on the interrupt because it was so freaking close. One thing I'm curious about is that it's a diamond sigil breaker to break that Masamune in waiting, but it looks like basically any attack will activate as a diamond. I'm not really sure how that works in this. This is one thing that kind of has me confused. It's like, it doesn't really seem like you need like like Matt's Killer Hornet with the diamond to actually break that sigil. So, all right, so here's the Octaslash doing pretty good damage. So that one took Cloud down to 617, which means that he's probably not going to survive the next one because they get intermittently stronger as you go through the fight. All right, so here's Cloud. He's going for the Murasame attack and then Thunderstrike, and then switching over to Aerith. I'm just, at this point, I think we're basically like going DPS because I don't want to take any more of those attacks. Here comes Hell's Gate. All right, we're going to get the little stun. And my summons are super close. I'm just going to try and get as much attacks in here as I can. He's about to go into Boundless Strength, and then he's going to start charging Octaslash. And I don't want to get him to get this Octaslash off, so I'm just going like full-blown DPS mode. And right at the end, I'm going to switch over and activate my summons. All right, right here, boom, Diamond Dust and Hellfire. And we should get the climactic finish right here. I love that animation on Shiva. It looks so good. All right, so I'm going to do about 20k with Shiva, and then finishing it up with Ifrit's Hellfire. Let's go. All right, so as you guys can see, that was the fight. Pretty damn fun. I really like this strategy. It definitely helped a lot for the sigils to do it like that, as opposed to actually trying to break those phases. But yeah, I hope this helps you guys. And if anything, it was just fun to record this fight. I've been having a lot of fun with this game and kind of just watching the other YouTubers and just enjoying the game in the process. But in the meantime, I hope this helps you guys clear the EX3. It was a really, really, really fun fight. And I just want to point out that it looks like Sephiroth's one-winged angel costume is actually a thing. I haven't heard anyone talk about this, you know, the fact that we saw it. But anyways, take care, peace, and have a great day.